Hi, hello. Welcome to the episode of Isaiah's Newsstand. It's your host, Isaiah Edwards. The date is August the 2nd, 2025. Hopefully this episode finds you well, in good spirits and high hopes. As for me, I'm doing pretty good. So far, we're dealing with the same problem from yesterday, the old back, lower back. It still hurts. We woke up like middle of the night. I want to say like 2 hours into sleeping, and I was like, okay, it feels a little better, but still not great. I was able to go back to sleep though, so that was good. Woke up almost like right on time to just get laundry ready and then get to the laundromat. And it was one of those days where they were like already open. So like normally they open at 8 o'clock. I got there around like 7:45. So I was like, ooh, this is perfect. This is awesome. So got the laundry in, got it done. Get home, get all the laundry put up, and I'm like, all right, so what are we doing? And I think y'all know what I wound up doing. I went to the gym. I went back to where it all started, back where the pain began. No, overall, the gym session went so much better today. Obviously, I was in some pain. That sucked. But we started off with the free weights, kind of used it more as like a warm up. And then I was initially coming into the gym saying, I'm not touching the Smith machine. I got to take it easy. And that would have been the smarter move. Of course it would have. That would have been the move that, 10 out of 10, people would recommend. I don't know, experts, gym experts, whoever. But I was like, nah, I'm gonna get on it. It's open, it's free. I'm gonna get on. So, overall, I did it a little bit lighter. We weren't trying to push the max weight I thought I could push, and we just did like kind of 225 all around. But I was able to squat, I was able to deadlift, and that felt good. I think I just needed to remind myself, like, hey, you're okay. Yes, you're in some pain. It sucks, but you're all right. Also, it was one of those things too, like as I was working out, it kind of, I don't want to say it helped my back, but I think just being distracted, being focused on anything else just kind of takes away from that constant pain. Something to that effect. So overall, the workout went well, session went well, and we're back home. We're chilling. We are getting ready to yap. So yeah, let's go ahead and do our startup and let's get into some news. I will say I'm still scared of that belt. I know that I'm hoping that when my back gets fully healed, I'm off the mend. I can start training with with the belt and get used to it. Start with, smaller weight, work my way into it. And that way I hopefully won't get into another injury. That's the plan at least. But I'll tell you what, I'm glad I'm walking around. Glad I'm able to do all the stuff I'm planning on doing today. So I'm excited. I'm overall happy. Sometimes you just got to deal with a little bit of pain. Anyway. All right. Our first story comes from ABC News. Attack on military base in Burkina Faso kills about 50 soldiers, residents say. An attack by an armed group on a military base in northern Burkina Faso has left about 50 soldiers dead, according to accounts by a community leader and a resident on Tuesday. The Jamaat Nasr as Islam wal Muslimin, I'm sure I'm getting that wrong, or Muslimin group. We're going to call them the JNIM, was suspected of carrying out the attack Monday on the base in Dargo in Bolsa province in the northern region of the landlocked West African nation. The two sources who spoke to the Associated Press on condition of anonymity because they feared repercussions from the military said about 100 militants participated in the attack and that the gunmen burned and looted the base after the killings. The military government has yet to publicly acknowledge the attack. The JNIM, one of several armed groups conducting attacks across West Africa, have been blamed for hundreds of civilian and military deaths. Burkina Faso is witnessing a surge in attacks by armed groups who are in control of most of the country, especially outside the capital. The deteriorating security situation has led to political shifts in the country and served as the pretext for back-to-back coups. The military leader, Ibrahim Traore, has been unable to rein in the Islamist groups despite his redrawing of political and military allies. So that's really all they have on the situation at hand. Hopefully we come back with any more updates. I really would like to learn more about this area and just, the conflicts and everything kind of going on inside and around it. And may come back with some more information. That would be sick. But yeah, because I don't know. Obviously, this shit's fucked up. It's sad. Condolences to anyone and everyone involved in this kind of conflict, this kind of loss, this kind of, tragedy. But it is always interesting to learn more about obviously what's going on in the world around you. But then inevitably that leads you, usually on some history. So, it's just nice to learn more about the world one way or another, right? Anyway, let's move on to our next story from CNN. Trump fires a senior official over jobs numbers. The president, Donald Trump, has fired Dr. Erica McEntafer. We're going to say McEntafer, the commissioner of the Bureau of Labor Statistics, or the BLS, whom he accused without evidence of manipulating the monthly jobs reports for political purposes. The BLS labor report Friday showed that the U.S. economy added only 73,000 jobs in July, far below expectations. It also sharply revised down the employment growth that had been previously reported in May and June by a combined 258,000 jobs. After the revisions, the jobs report showed the weakest pace of hiring for any 3-month period since the pandemic recession in 2020. In my opinion, today's numbers were rigged in order to make the Republicans and me look bad, Trump said in a Truth Social post. Although in May and June, job numbers were worse than initially believed, revisions are normal in this process. The BLS's initial monthly jobs estimates are often based on incomplete data, so they are revised twice after the initial report, followed by an annual revision every February. Additionally, BLS economists use a formula to smooth out job numbers for seasonal variations, and that can exacerbate revisions when they fall outside of economists' expectations. So I kind of like learning this. I didn't know about this until reading this article. But that makes sense because I remember complaining, I want to say a week or two ago, about how, groceries, it's really fucking sucking. I know I'm paying more. This shit is ass. And it felt like economists that I was listening to really weren't coming out and saying that things are really shitty right now. They're like, it's kind of on the bubble. But now that you're seeing more of these revisions, which do happen, you go, oh, okay, I guarantee you more economists are going to be ringing alarm bells saying this is a problem, this is scary. So for Trump to be like, oh, well, now the numbers are really looking bad, so I need to roll ahead. I need to blame this on someone else. It's not my fault. It can never be my fault. So I'm going to blame this impartial government body, and I'm just going to put it on them. And this was a Biden hire. So, I guess it felt like, oh yeah, this is even easier. Like, obviously they're fixing the numbers, which is crazy. It's like, no, man, this is just how it works. And these motherfuckers, the Trump administration, they never complain when the numbers are in their favor. Back in 2017, it's like, no, everything was fine. Everything was hunky fucking dory. But I mean, this lines up. I mean, things are very stressful, all around in terms of any of the economy stuff, any of the economy sectors. I know I don't usually talk about the Fed too much, but they held rates, which was pretty contentious just because Trump has been pushing down on Jerome Powell really hard. So much so that, for the first time, you're starting to see cracks in even the voting for this, where I think they were kind of split because they're all Trump hires. But essentially, Jerome Powell is doing his job. He's being as impartial as he can and trying to fix the economy. He's like, I made a mistake earlier thinking that this wasn't going to be as bad. It was bad. Now, we're holding steady. We want to keep it that way. We want to keep interest rates, where they're at. But I mean, it's looking like he might capitulate come the next time this conversation comes up. Plus, no matter what, whether he holds frame or not, come May of next year, he's going to be on the out. So he's just going to be replaced by some yes man. But really, this added thing of firing, I know I'm getting her name wrong, McEntafer, it really is starting to set this chilling standard of like, you can never make me look bad. And by me, I mean Trump. Like, if you do that, it's your ass. So in other words, it is just perpetuating this whole idea of like, all you're going to have is yes men. All you're going to have are loyalists. You're not going to have people actually trying to run the country. You're going to have people who are trying to keep their fucking jobs. You're going to have fucking rats trying to level up their positions. That's all you're going to have in this administration. That's all you're going to have in government. Meanwhile, it's like, well, what about the things that I need? What about the, economy? Where are we going to go? And I mean, probably all the way down. I don't know. It does feel scary. The tariff shit's only getting worse, it seems. I know he's planning on hitting Canada with a harder tariff, I think like 35%. India's getting hit with like 25%. The average seems to be around 15 all around as opposed to the 10. I know we're just kind of talking a lot of numbers at this point. I hate talking economy. I was also going to say, too, to kind of also talk about me being validated and feeling validated. I've been hearing in the news that although you hear, grocery store corporations, whatever, saying like, oh, yeah, we're eating the tariffs. We're doing the best we can. Obviously, we don't like it. It's bad. We're trying to do the best we can, but we're trying to do our best not to pass that on to the customers. But it's also being reported that they're doing a thing of like sneaking it in on the sly, slowly adding things here, there, all the way around until everything is kind of more expensive in the store no matter what. And hopefully you don't notice. And it's like, no, bitch, we definitely notice. We definitely feel that shit. It's just, you don't have a choice in the matter. You need to buy these goods. You need to be able to eat. Like, what is the alternative? Like, for me, I remember I stopped eating fast food because I couldn't afford it anymore. Like, that was how that was my diet. That was all I ate, was just fast food. So I got so fucking fat. But, like, I just couldn't afford that shit anymore. And not to mention, it was just time. Like, I gotta start going to the grocery store, gotta start going to my old Kroger and loading up. So it's inevitable for me now. Like, what else can I do? In America, you really don't have the luxury or the means to just like, oh, I'm going to make my own garden. I'm going to like, have a little patch of land and do all this, that, and the third. No, that is a extreme luxury. You got to have a lot of fucking money to make all that happen. So no, I don't have the means for that. So yeah, you're going to catch me at Kroger tomorrow paying too much money. So that being said, yes, the economy is going to hell in a handbasket, as well as everything else in America. And apparently we are determined to drag the rest of the world with us. So yeah, a little bit of a bundle there. Also, I did mention Canada, and I told myself that if I mention Canada, I have to mention this little fucking gossip. Apparently, Justin Trudeau and Katy Perry are dating. So that's a thing. Put that in your notebook, I guess. I don't know. I didn't expect that. That was maybe not interesting. Not really a thing we really cover on this pod. Not really the beat. But, I was like, what? They're going on dates and stuff? What are they? Oh, they're hooking up. Are they canoodling? Oh, God. More 11. No. Anyway, let's move on to our next story. From KSTP.com, ABC5, Eyewitness News. Minnesota National Guard activated. State of emergency declared after cyber attack against St. Paul. Local, state, and federal agencies are investigating a cyber attack against the city of St. Paul. Governor Tim Walz on Tuesday announced he has activated the Minnesota National Guard to assist in the response to the attack at the city's request. According to the governor's office, the magnitude and complexity of the cybersecurity incident have exceeded the city's response capacity. At a news conference on Tuesday, St. Paul Mayor Melvin Carter said the city has declared a local state of emergency to address the attack. The city also retained 2 national firms and activated its emergency operations center. So this is like not something you see every day. At least I usually don't. I've first time kind of covering a story like this where like at least in my knowledge, we've covered like hospitals and stuff getting attacked or getting hacked, like cyber attacked, but a whole city like this seems like really intense. Cybersecurity protection systems initially detected suspicious activity on the city's network on Friday. This wasn't a system glitch or technical error. This was a deliberate, coordinated digital attack carried out by a sophisticated external actor, in intentionally and criminally targeting our city's information infrastructure. We are the victims of a serious crime, said Jamie Waskalis, director of the city's Office of Technology and Communications. In response, we have mobilized local, state, and federal partners to support our investigation and response efforts. This incident remains active and we continue to assess it in real time. Even the FBI is involved. The city on Monday fully shut down its information systems as a defensive measure to contain the threat. The disruptions are affecting access to online services and internal systems. The city added that some of its services may be temporarily disabled or unavailable. Carter added that 911 services are working as normal, though there have been back-end challenges. So yeah, pretty fucking extensive. I heard about this story, I think, around Monday, and I really haven't had too many updates. It hasn't had a lot of, like, national press. I mean, I get it. There's a lot going on. But I really would like to, like, hear more details. The rest of the article is kind of like, well, what to do if you're in the city and you've been hacked, what to check for, We're going to skip that part. But yeah, an interesting story all the same. We haven't really covered a cyber attack in a little bit. So we got a heist, we got a cyber crime. So there we go, and a little bit of true crime wrap up. A little bit of the I don't want to say favorite sounds bad, but some of the bread and butter beats we like to cover. Anyway, we have one more story that I'd like to cover, and it is from Interesting Engineering. But I believe the story, I was listening to this on the BBC. That's what, like, solidified me wanting to cover it. Like, when Ohio is being talked about on the BBC, then all right, it's for me. Anyway, let me take my last break and we'll close it out. Oh, I also want to add, the weather is very nice today. It is not too hot, not too cold. Very Goldilocks for a summer. Nice way to start off August, that's for sure. Okie dokie. 1994 IVF miracle. World's oldest baby born in U.S. from embryo frozen for 30 years. A baby boy has been born in the U.S. from an embryo frozen for over 3 decades, setting a new record for the longest stored embryo to result in a successful live birth. And I gotta say here, this is a personal gripe I have, scruple. I don't like that they're calling this, like, the oldest baby. Because he was an embryo, I feel like you start counting from when the motherfucker is born, when he comes into existence, when the baby, is, like, there. Okay, boom, awesome. When it's just a bunch of little cells, you know how I feel about this. I'm like, I don't feel like that's fair to say this is the oldest baby. This is, like, the most preserved living thing. Like, which that's not correct when you say it that way, right? Like, that's why I don't like it. You know what I mean? It's just, anyway, it's neither here nor there. It's still very impressive. It's still cool in terms of, like, medical science and stuff that we were able to do this kind of thing. Thaddeus Daniel Pierce, which also, is that a great name? Thaddeus? I mean, it's fine, whatever. It's cool. Okay, Thaddy. Thaddeus Daniel Pierce, a baby boy born on July 26, 2025, to parents Lindsay, 35, and Tim Pierce, 34, in Ohio, is being called the world's oldest baby. It's the oldest baby. Come see the oldest baby in Ohio. I'm sorry. I don't know. I'm on some other shit. Let's see. They have an ad blocking part of this, but scroll ahead a bit. The parents adopted the embryo from U.S. based Linda Archard, now age 62. In the early 1990s, Linda and her husband pursued in vitro fertilization to have a child. From this process in 1994, 4 embryos were created. The Guardian reported that one of these embryos was successfully transferred, leading to the birth of a daughter who is now 30 years old. The remaining embryos were frozen and stored. Linda faced increasing annual storage fees for her frozen embryos, which eventually reached $1,000 yearly. Ugh, that's so crazy. Just to hold the baby, just to put a baby on layaway. Years later, she discovered embryo adoption through Nightlight Christian Adoptions Snowflakes program, which allows donated embryos to be adopted by new families. I often find this little thing interesting, right? Keyword on the Christian part, right? Because I feel like they're almost at odds. Are they? Maybe, maybe not. I mean, I guess in the overall, they're like, hey, if this is a chance at more life coming into the world, then we support it. We want to get behind this program. Let's make it happen. But also, I'm curious if there's like problems or schisms in the fact that like this is technically an artificial process. Like, is God really involved here? Is God in the fucking lab, keeping the baby frozen? I don't know. I don't really care these days. But I don't know. It made me think and I pondered. Anyway. Archard was matched with the Pierces, who shared her values and were eager to have a child. Lindsay reportedly said she and her husband weren't trying to break any records. They wanted to have a baby. Despite a difficult birth, both she and her son are now doing well. We are in awe that we have this precious baby. Upon seeing a photo of Thaddeus, Linda was struck by the resemblance to her daughter as a baby. The first thing that I noticed when Lindsay sent me his pictures is how much he looks like my daughter when she was a baby. I pulled out my baby book and compared them side by side, and there's no doubt they're siblings, said Linda. So, I don't know. This is very cute. It's a, cool IVF moment in time in history. And like I said, straight out of Ohio, baby. So we love a local story. But that's where I'll leave it. That's really all I got on that. If you'd like to help out, support the effort, become a newsie today. Patreon.com/ZanNews. Free ways to hit me up at zannews1@gmail.com. Feel free to follow me or the podcast on any of the socials. Subscribe to the YouTube. Follow on TikTok. Follow on Spotify. Follow on Apple Podcasts. Whatever listening platform you're on. I should be there too. Let's see. Leave a like. Leave a cool comment. Sharing is caring. Leave all the stars for those reviews if those are available. That's always appreciated. But nevertheless, no matter what, I always appreciate you listening. I always appreciate you just coming through and hanging out with me. That's pretty cool. Anyway, hopefully I see you soon for some more good news. I love ya. Bye-bye. Mwah.